Okay.
Yeah, once you have it towed, we can't see how far that gets you, Victor.
Recording in progress.
Recording in progress.
Okay, I'm going to call to order our special and joint regular meeting of the City Council, the Successor Agency, and the Housing Authority for Tuesday, September the 23rd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council Agency Authority Member Barrios. Council Agency Authority Member Taylor. Council Agency Authority Member Warren. Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairman Torres. And Mayor Chairman Jobber.
Thank you. Have we received any correspondence, or is there anyone in the audience who would like to address us at this time?
Mr. Mayor, we have none, and also seeing none, hearing none.
Thank you. Okay, could you tell us what we're going to be discussing?
Yes, Mayor. Today we have conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Number of potential cases is 2. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to recess this. We're going into closed session. We shall be back for our 6:30 meeting.
Project Home Keys. They're coming.
Okay, I think before we start, we'll get a report from closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. There's nothing to report.
Thank you. I'm going to call to order our Stanton City Council, Successor Agency, Housing Authority joint meeting for this evening. Roll call, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council Agency Authority Member Barrios. Council Agency Authority Member Taylor. Council Agency Authority Member Warren. Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairman Torres. And Mayor Chairman Jobber. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Wren, will you lead us in the pledge?
Place your hand over your heart, repeat after me.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, we're now at item number 8. This is special presentations and awards. We're going to be giving a proclamation. This is Fire Prevention Week in the city of Stanton. So, Chief, you want to come on up? Tell us a little bit about it.
I'm good.
I know. But without it, I can't record your loudness.
That was a trick question. Test the microphone.
Test, test.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, and community for recognizing Fire Prevention Week. My name is Danny Goodwin. I'm an administrative staff captain in Division 7. I want to emphasize a strong partnership between the city and OCFA in keeping residents safe. Most fires are preventable through awareness and practices and preparation. Prevention saves lives, reduces injuries, and protects property before an emergency event even occurs. Everyone has a part. Checking smoke alarms, creating family escape plans, practicing safe cooking and healthy habits. Fire prevention is about empowering families, schools, and businesses to take simple steps to make a big impact. OCFA is committed not only to responding to emergencies, but preventing them through education, inspections, and outreach. And to go off script real quick, our community risk reduction, men and women do an outstanding job day in and day out, either answering questions for the community, performing inspections so that we prevent the fires, but they give us a building outlook, and they let us know how the city or how the buildings are laid out. And so that information is critical. As a fire captain going to a fire, I have the building layout based on their hard work. So I just want to emphasize that as a side note. programs such as the school visits, so they do school visitations, they do the community outreach just like the fire department. The safety presentations with smoke alarms for little kids. They teach little kids how to actually change smoke detectors so they can tell their parents at home. And they do a lot of different risk reduction efforts. So fire prevention is not just a week, it's a year-long commitment. Together, the city and the fire service, we can reduce risk and keep our community safer. Thank you.
I'm going to have Mayor Pro Tem Torres read the proclamation. Hang at the station.
Yes, sir.
City of Stanton Proclamation, Fire Prevention Week, October 5th through 11th, 2025. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, Donald Torres, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Stanton, and I, Dave J. Shaver, Mayor of the City of Stanton, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby declare the week of October 5th through 11th, 2025, to be Fire Prevention Week throughout the City of Stanton. And in doing so, encourage the citizens of this community to join with me in practicing and urging Orange County residents to also practice safe lithium-ion habits. Only buy products that meet safety standards, change devices safely, dispose and recycle batteries responsibly, and to also support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Orange County Fire Authority during Fire Prevention Week 2025.
Come up, we'll be happy to give you this. All right, let's go, gang. Okay, we're now at special presentations and awards. We're now moving to number B. This is a presentation by Jan Marie Housing Corp. They're going to share their mission with the City Council and provide information on Project Home Key operations.
Good evening. My name is Richard Owens. Mr. Mayor, City Council, and leaders for inviting us here today to share what we've been able to do in your city. So in 2020, Jamboree Housing, Orange County Behavioral Health and Orange County Continuum of Care took over 2 sites under Project Home Key, and that was the sites formerly known as Stanton Inn and Tahiti. And with those 2 sites, we took over Stanton Inn, and I've been involved with these projects since the beginning. So I was there the first day, and I've been involved. Very familiar with them. They kind of hold a place in my heart because I've been so involved in these communities. For Stanton Inn, we took over the day before Thanksgiving. So you can imagine the fury of just needing to come in and provide some type of services for Thanksgiving, and also provide the individuals that were currently there under Project Room Key an opportunity to stabilize and make sure that they were going to be taken care of. They didn't know what was going to happen. It was one day it was Illumination Foundation, and the next day we were in there. And so we came in, we were able to get that site stabilized, and at the same time, we were relocating individuals from Tahiti, because we had to meet federal guidelines for relocating before we could commence construction. So we began that process, and why we were still conducting relocation, why we were doing a rehab. We did a small rehab on those to make the building habitable, so that way we could provide interim housing in the same like that we were providing at Stanton Inn. And through that process, we were able to get approved for tax credit allocations, and so then move forward with turning those properties into permanent supportive housing. That we received that funding a lot faster than we anticipated. We thought it would take us 3 to 5 years. It took us 1. And so in 2021, we received that, and by 2022, we were already breaking ground to turn these into permanent supportive housing. We worked with the county to help relocate some of those individuals that were living under Project Room Key, under Project Home Key. And during that time, as a Project Home Key, the city was able to assist with 225 individuals going from homeless to housed. And so that's a great testament to the work and to your commitment to being able to help house our homeless community. 225 individuals in less than 2 years were able to receive permanent housing through these Project Home Keys. And as we move forward, we've now turned them into 152 units that we are housing individuals. And so when you add that together, that's almost 300 individuals that the city of Stanton has helped to become housed. And that's a great testament to the commitment of what we are trying to do to end homelessness here in Orange County. So from Jamboree, we appreciate your commitment to that and your efforts in leading the way and allowing us to partner with you. So since we've converted, we now have, we've been able to provide services on site. In some of these supportive housing sites, I do think it's important to understand that there's a stabilization period. And so when you take individuals who are coming from being unhoused to housed, there's a period, there's an adjustment period, just like for any of us, or a transition period. That stabilization period typically takes 3 to 5 years before we see properties really stabilize. And the reason being is because some people struggle with the adjustment, some people need additional help, and some people realize they get in there like, this isn't for me, I'm going to move on. And so it takes us about 3 to 5 years of constant engagement and interacting with individuals to help the properties actually stabilize to where we start to really see we see in year 3 downward trends and need for emergency services and other outside entities coming in, just because the property has now been able to stabilize. Residents are connected and they feel like it's their community. They understand the kind of their leases and what the expectations are of them, and they're engaging with our team whenever they need help. They don't feel like they're no longer in this survival mode. Now they're able to start really stabilize, and what we see is thrive after about that year 3 mark. Now this is individual cases vary, but we see that by year 3 properties tend to stabilize, where you see that downward trend and need for emergency services and other things. And so we've been now open for about 2 years. So we are getting ready to reach that point, and we've really been able to stabilize and engage the residents there. Some of the positive things that we've been able to do is we partner with Second Harvest Food Bank, and we've been able to provide, over the past year alone, 396 pounds of food. So when you think about it, food insecurity is one of the greatest things that we see, greatest needs in our communities, in our affordable housing and low-income communities. And so we were able to partner with organizations to bring that in, so that way, even if they have CalFresh or they feel like their benefits are being reduced, they still have access to food. So we have active food pantries on each site, and we partner to bring fresh food in. We also have 16 staff members dedicated to these 3 properties. So and that's not to include
some of our third-party providers. So at these properties, we've also partnered with Orange County Healthcare Agency. They provide assistance to some residents, and then we also have the Department of Veterans Affairs involved, and so they provide services. So Jamboree alone has 16. These other services provide additional help and support as well, and they bring that in. And so it's a community network that we're coming in to address the issues and work with our residents and really help them to be able to succeed on site. Some of the great numbers we currently have over 80 residents who are actively engaged in programming. And that's a big number when you're looking at, you have 152 total units and over half of them are actively engaged. And these services are voluntary, so we cannot mandate services. So you have over half of the populations who are actively involved, going to programming, talking with coordinators and case managers to help them to get ahead, to get them connected to behavioral health services, help to medical services, dental services, or whatever it may be. There's a list of things that we provide. We also have, we have 32 have been reintegrated through behavioral health supports. This is non-therapeutic help that we provide. And when we talk about reintegration, I always refer to the veteran community. I'm a veteran myself, and I've worked in veteran services prior to coming to Jamboree. And there's a big discussion about reintegrating back into the community when you're coming off of active duty or coming off of deployment. And this is no different. We're working with individuals who are unhoused, who have not always been accepted by society or by their communities, and then they don't know exactly how to engage, or they have to relearn how to engage with the community, with members, how to be able to go grocery shopping and budget and things like that. And so we have 32 who are actively engaged in participating in those services. We have 32 who are enrolled in harm reduction services. And so these are individuals who acknowledge that they have an addiction issue and that they're seeking help personally. They're not being told or mandated they have to get help, but they're saying, hey, I have an issue, I want help. And we have a harm reduction specialist on staff who is able to work with these individuals to help them with their addiction, whether it be substance abuse, whether it be drugs or alcohol. That's their specialty. They're working with them. We also have 30, and this is one of our numbers that we're proud of. We have 34 who are actively participating and enrolled in our workforce development program. And workforce development is a program that allows them and helps them to find jobs. So we work with them on creating a resume, going through, looking at the jobs we have, kind of getting creative with some of the wordings, trying to figure out what type of jobs they're interested in, what may they be able to do now. Some of them have various disabilities, and so a lot came from blue-collar jobs, construction industry, and they're just not able to do those jobs now. So we try to take what skills do you have now or did you learn there that can translate into the job market today, and how can we help you go out there and do that? And so we've been very successful with that as well. And then we also, Clara Vista, and this is just Clara Vista alone, is part of a Cal Optima pilot. We have 3 properties in a pilot that is being funded through Cal Optima to see how enhanced care management works and helps to stabilize and assist individuals living in supportive housing. So we have a property in Buena Park, we have Clara Vista here, and we have a property in Huntington Beach. And so for Clara Vista, we have 60 units there, and 35 of the 60 are enrolled and active participants in our pilot programs. And we've been able to provide 228.5 hours of enhanced care management. And so that is going above and beyond all the things that we've talked about and that we've shared in the flyer that's before you. Is this enhanced care management is working with them one-on-one to really get down and dive into some of their struggles that they're going through and make sure that they are getting the care that they need. It's more attention, individualized care that they're having. And with that, we have over 10 staff who are dedicated to our enhanced care management program. And this is just kind of scratching the surface. We really just wanted to share the great things that are going on, that the residents are there. They are actively participating. We have holiday events that go on. We have weekly just I would say events for lack of better words, but we have weekly social engagement opportunities for the residents. We do things for holidays. We hold monthly town halls where our property manager and our services team are there. We're speaking to them together in one voice. We go over the lease. We make sure they understand the lease. If we do hear of any issues or things that are starting to trend at the properties, we address those. We let them know what how they will be held accountable and what our expectations of them are as residents. So again, these are great things we've been able to do. Again, looking at the fact that we've been able to house over almost 300 individuals in this short amount of time is a great testament to the city, and we just appreciate you partnering with us and letting us share this information. Thank you.
Nice try. Are there any questions? Go ahead, Gary.
What does it cost per resident? Do you have that information?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I can look into what that is. Yes.
Budget.
For these sites, our budgets are based off of the operating expenses. Again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but so the way it works is each one of these units, we receive from the Orange County Housing Authority what the max rate would be for that unit, and then that's how we bring that in, the operating expenses. So I'd have to go back and talk to our asset management team to try to get those numbers.
On this that you handed out, it says 84% retention rate.
Yes.
Is that for all three properties, or is
Yes.
that an individual property?
That's for all three properties total.
We have 145 people then housed on all three properties total?
No, so that number, I did find a incorrection there. It should be 152, not 145. They forgot to include, unfortunately, Aurora Vista. A lot of times when we talk about our Stanton properties, Aluma and Clara Vista tend to highlight those because they're larger, and then the services, we provide direct services there. There's only one resident at Aurora Vista we provide direct services to. The rest are provided by the county and by the VA. And so I apologize that those numbers were not reflected in the count.
Thank you.
Go ahead, John.
Thank you for coming. I think these properties are wonderful, and I've had an opportunity to tour them, and I'm really proud of the work of our predecessors had in doing this and being the first city to get involved with such a need in permanent supportive housing in particular. I just wanted to ask, with the facility, it's considered to be a dry facility?
Yes.
Okay. And since they're referred to from the Orange County Healthcare Agency, they are effectively medically cleared to move in that way?
Yeah, so the only difference, the primary difference is that to be considered for MHSA funding is you have to be what they call MHSA criteria. And so it's not that they're medically cleared, it's that they've been identified and diagnosed as having a mental health disorder that prevents them from being housed on their own. And so once they meet that criteria that's met, the county verifies that, and then that's how they become eligible for the MHSA units. Yes.
And one of my concerns with properties like these is that I'm extremely happy and supportive that we're providing the housing. My concern, though, is there's obviously external factors.
Correct.
Where people may want to try to take advantage of our populations there and effectively may try to get them to relapse and so forth. I mean, what do your properties do to try to secure yourselves from those factors?
Yeah. So one of the things that we really is these are apartments. The individuals, they have a lease, and so they're allowed to have guests come in during business hours. There are limitations. They're only allowed to have 14 overnight visits per year. And so it's really part of it is educating the residents as to what the expectations and what is allowed, and then we hold them accountable through lease violations. And then we have our own escalation continuum that we work with property management. So that way, if there's an incident on site, we try to identify the individual. We try to intervene first to see how egregious was it. There are some that it goes straight to a violation or straight to an eviction. Others, we try to work with them to create some type of corrective action plan. So that way they understand that they made this mistake. We've identified it. If there are further mistakes, these are the actions that you will face. But I will say one of the things that we struggle at all of our supportive housing properties are unauthorized guests. And this is where I go back to the stabilization period of about 3 to 5 years, because these individuals, they went from being unhoused and living on the streets, and now they see that their buddy is back in that situation, and they have a place where they can eat and they can shower and just kind of relax for a little bit, that they don't understand that impacts their own housing. They're trying to be helpful, but it's hurting them. And so that's really the conversation, and it takes a lot of relationship building with the individuals to get them to understand that them trying to be helpful can actually hurt them in the long run. And so we try to have a lot of those conversations. That's why we understand that addiction and substance abuse is part of the population. That's why we have our harm reduction specialists on site. We work with them and try to identify different ways and different strategies that we can help them and offer those opportunities for them, so that way they can try to find a way to cease those activities.
I appreciate the work. My concern is for the residents, and making sure that they stay healthy, they stay careful. And so in terms of that monitoring, what kind of hours do you have available where you're keeping an eye on your population to make sure that nothing like that's happening?
Sure. So we're there normal business hours. After hours, we have video cameras. So we have a security system that's there. We have a security guard at Clara Vista that we're able to have on site during off hours. But we also have drop-down video systems, and so the way the drop downs work is they are remotely monitored, and so if somebody picks up somebody hanging out in a corner that they're not supposed to be, these drop downs will come down and they'll send a notification, and if they don't disperse, then they'll notify emergency services to come out that we have an individual out there. But other than that, it's really just trying to encourage them to police themselves. That's another, because it is a community, and so we encourage that community building. We've tried neighborhood watch programs inside. Unfortunately, this population, they don't want to do that. They feel like they're snitching, and I'm not going to snitch on my neighbor or on this person or that person. So they won't notify law enforcement, but they will notify us of, hey, this individual had 3 people staying in the room last night, or we've had these issues going on. And so we try to verify that through camera footage, and then we work with our teams to find a creative solution to be able to address the issue.
Thank you. And the last thing I'll just ask on that is, I'm aware that they have an actual compact to live there. I mean,
Yes.
and that's one big differentiation between it just being all access and them having taken all the steps and finally reaching this destination of having housing, is that they have an agreement that they are abiding by the house rules effectively.
Yes. Well, they actually sign a lease.
Yeah.
And so they sign a lease. They understand that what the requirements of that lease are. Like there are pet addendums that we have to it. It's just like any other apartment lease that you will sign. So they do know that those are the expectations. We reiterate that to them on a monthly basis, what their expectations are, and then we hold them accountable through lease violations. And if they receive so many lease violations within a certain amount of time, then we have to move towards eviction. And that's why you'll see on your sheets that the number of residents living there versus is smaller than the number of residents served. We've served a greater number of residents because we have had to evict some, again, through behavioral issues, through non-payment of rent. They are expected to pay. They pay 30% of their income for rent, and so there are those expectations, just like a regular lease. And if they don't do that, then they're issued lease violations, and so many of that will lead to a eviction.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have the figures on how many Stanton residents you've helped?
That I don't, but I can pull that number for you.
Be nice if we could see that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, one last question. From all the treatments you've seen, what do you think has been the most effective lately?
Could you?
In terms of making sure that residents stay long-term in housing and don't, go back into the streets or anything, what have you seen works?
So I would say that our approach of a community approach, right, that there's no wrong door, right, because each individual is different. And so it's really building those relationships. Having the enhanced care management has helped because for individuals who are high needs, we can assign them to enhanced care management and they can receive individualized attention they wouldn't normally get because there are so many residents, right? But if we can identify those who are high needs, have a high acuity, we can get them specialized, individualized care and someone who's assigned to work with them and kind of walk them through the process, which allows our staff then, our other staff, to work with residents who maybe have a little bit lower acuity and don't require as much help. So I would say just having no wrong door, being able to provide multiple services there, provide everybody, and there's something for everybody. That's been very effective. And then having that ECM there to be able to get that specialized care for those who need it or the highest acuity has been really helpful as well. Yeah, welcome.
Owens, thank you very much, and we have a stamp and pin for you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
that's it. Thank you.
Okay. On to the consent calendar. All these items will be taken in a single motion. Have we received any correspondence?
Mr. Mayor, we have none.
The audience that would like to bring up an item on the consent calendar. Okay, I'm going to pull item number 9E. Is to remove the balance 9A through 9J with the recommended action.
I'll make the motion.
Favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody object? Thank you. Okay, 9E.
Before you is on consent calendar is an award of a professional services agreement to Engineering Resources of Southern California, Inc. for the Western Avenue Resurfacing Project and approve a cooperative agreement between the City of Stanton and the City of Garden Grove. Your questions for staff, Mr. Mayor?
Caesar, there has been some concerns from the public. I thought this would be a good time because this item deals with the Western Street there. The left turn pocket there on a daily basis usually has over 10 to 12 cars wanting to turn left off of Western on the beach. And there's not enough room to accommodate but very few cars. And I've already discussed with you the issue of people cutting across from the apartments and from the gas station. Also, the problem is that that light will let two cars go through it on a left turn lane. So you have to picture people's dilemma. The left turn lane's too short. It's got 10 cars in it, of which maybe 5 can't get into the lane to turn, and the light lets 3 cars go at a time. I think while we're doing this particular upgrade, those are some issues that we hopefully can address for the public.
Yes, Mayor, we'll look into those things as we work through the design of the project.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead then and move item 9E. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstained? That passes. All right, moving on. We are now ending our consent calendar, and we're moving on to public hearings. This is item 10A, consideration of an ordinance to adopt the 2025 California Building Standards Code.
Okay. No slides? We're working on it. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. At the last meeting, the City Council introduced for first reading of Ordinance 1164 to update the building and fire codes. Show a group of new codes. Can you just, maybe one more slide? Okay, go to the last one, that's fine. One more, there you go. So the new current codes are on the upper right-hand corner of the last slides. Can you go to the slide with, there you go. Oh, it's shy. There we go. So the effective code starting January 1 of 2026 would be the set of codes sitting in the upper right-hand corner. Those are 2025 California Building Code and Fire Codes. This kind of show the process involved in combining all the model codes with the state code and our local amendments to come up with the code that we enforce now that resides in the Stanton Municipal Code. Title 16 is the building code, and Title 17 is the fire code. Every 3 years, the state updates the building and fire codes, which is then adopted by the cities with local amendments and implemented throughout the state of California. The proposed ordinance include all previous adopted amendments to the building and fire codes. No additional changes are proposed to Ordinance 1164 that was introduced at the last meeting, which is the first reading. If the City Council approved the attached ordinance, the most recent addition of the building and fire codes with applicable amendments will come into effect on January 1, 2026. Even though we're adopting it now, it does not go into effect until January 1, which means if you're pulling building permits, the key dates is that when you submit plan check. If you submit for plan check on January 1, it has to be under the new codes. If you have projects already working now, you're still okay under the current code. That actually ends my brief presentation. I'll be happy to answer any question. The ordinance does have amendments for the building code and the fire codes, and I have the Assistant Fire Marshal from OCFA if I need to pull his help on answering any fire question.
Can you go back the slide number? Okay. So it says right there that, okay, I want the next slide, I'm sorry. Yeah. It says every city in California is mandated to adopt state codes. Each city may amend the code to address local conditions. As you know, there's a lot of legislation that's been recently made on housing and also things such as height and building domiciles, ADUs, et cetera. Does that give us the ability to change that? Because it's legislation that's coming down from the state of California.
So if you're focusing on legislation for ADUs, yes, you can, but that would be a separate ordinance, not from the building code or SB 9. That's also a separate ordinance that the city can adopt, and it has to meet a minimum certain requirement from the state. You can actually become stricter, but I don't want to talk about the zoning issue. That's not my expertise. Most of the stuff are building technical related, either structural, otherwise. But you're right. The state has come up with a lot of laws that got buried into the building code as well.
I just want to know if we're adopting those tonight. Go ahead, Crystal.
If I can, tonight it's just the building codes, and that provision only allows us to make modifications to building code items to address local concerns. Unfortunately, it doesn't also give us jurisdiction to modify any of the other housing legislation that has come down recently.
Okay, so any legislation from Sacramento that comes down that affects the way in something with building that they mandate, we have to live with it.
The housing legislation, yes, because that is considered separate from.
That does not help us one bit.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. Any other questions? Thank you for that presentation.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good job. I'm now going to open the public hearing on this item, which is item 10A. Is there anyone from the audience who would like to address item 10A? Is there any correspondence on 10A?
We have none.
Okay, bringing it back to the council. Anything? Okay, close the public hearing. The recommended action is 1 and 2. Is there a motion?
I'll move them.
Second. Roll call.
And that's for items 1, 2, and 3. Councilmember Warren? Aye. Councilmember Barrios? Yes. Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Torres? And Mayor Schaber?
Yes.
Thank you. Item passes 5-0.
Okay. We're now on 11. We have no unfinished business. Number 12, new business. This is item 12A, a review of city policies regarding city council submission of agenda items. Patricia. Oh, sorry. That's you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. Tonight's item was placed on the agenda as a city council-initiated item after majority consensus was received at the meeting of January 28, 2025. At that time, council directed staff to conduct research on the historical policies and procedures and those best practices adopted by other cities regarding the placement of items on the agenda by a member of the council. The staff report provides a detailed listing of city policies beginning in 1987. In 1995, the council amended the policy to require a majority vote of the council to place a council member-initiated item on an agenda. This direction was subsequently removed in 1996. Then in 2009, the concept of consensus reappears in the policy and has remained as part of the policy through the most recent version adopted in 2022. Staff also surveyed Orange County cities to understand best practices throughout the region. Of the 33 cities surveyed, staff received 26 responses. Of the 26 responses received, 7 or 27% do not require a second or consensus. The remaining 19 or 73% require either a second or consensus. 2 cities utilize different requirements for requests generated by the mayor versus other council members, giving the mayor unilateral authority while requiring council members to secure a second or a majority vote. 1 city allows all council members to place items unilaterally on the agenda, but the staff report must be wholly produced by the council member with no staff involvement. 1 city allows for a maximum of 5 council-initiated items per mayor or council member in the queue at any given time, while another city allows a maximum of 4 council-initiated items per year per mayor or council member. 2 responding cities imposed a 6-month restriction on how soon a council-initiated item that did not receive council consensus could be brought back for reconsideration. That concludes my staff report this evening, and staff is available to answer any questions.
Thank you. The reason I put this on is because each of you represent your own district, okay? And that you should have the right to put anything that you feel is in the best interest of your district that you represent on the calendar, or at least bring it forward to the council without having to get a vote or having a majority of the approval. I think it's 72-hour notice. Is that required? 72, right?
It needs to be submitted similar to the rest of the agenda items.
Right, okay. So I would just like to go back to the way it used to be, that a council member has the right to put something on the agenda that for the district that you represent. That's all.
So in regards to how it used to be, how long ago was used to be?
2016.
Okay. I appreciate the initiative on this item. I'll be happy to say that I think we have a city council that, no matter what the partisanship makeup has been over the years, has been generous to one another in providing each other the opportunity to present items and make their case at a following meeting. Back when this item came up, I had said that I don't know what the problem is, and I don't know what we're trying to fix. Right now, I believe what we have works fine, and I don't see a impetus for changing it.
Well, the only comment on that is you have to wait an extra 2 weeks.
At this time, if a council member had submitted something that they wanted to be on an agenda prior to Thursday, would that be accepted by staff?
The thing is that if you want to get something on, you have to bring it here, get the approval, then we bring it back 2 weeks later. And, to me, I mean, what's there to be afraid of? If you have something that's important to you that you want to put on, you should, as an elected official, you should do that without anybody being critical or anybody have the ability to not let you do that. That's why you got elected, to represent the people.
I appreciate that, and I understand that. Anytime we have something that it's a matter of urgency, we have that capability of emergency authorities. However, I believe in our current way it gives staff breathing room and more time to work on items. Earlier this year, I remember we had a slate of council-initiated items that all came in one meeting. I believe it's a matter of how much breathing room we give our staff, because we at times do ask a lot of our staff.
And I completely agree with you, but the problem is we're not asking the staff to do anything. We're just getting it on the agenda for discussion, and the council may at that time decide not to go forward with it. So we're not putting any more pressure or causing any more time for our city staff. We're just giving the process for somebody to put it on the agenda so that they can put it on the agenda. And then if the council decides they don't want it, then we can, it can be stopped at that point. Go ahead, Gary.
I just have a couple of points on that. I think we've got a system now that's worked for quite a while. I don't believe in changing something that I don't think is broken. Also, I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that we are voted for and elected by districts, but we really do represent the whole city. This is 3.1 square miles. You're fond of saying that it's only 2 miles of residential areas. So I think that we all kind of see the same problems within our districts, within the city as a whole, and I don't think we should become too obsessed with our districts rather than looking at the whole city. Thank you.
So let's say under your proposed system, a council member goes ahead and agendizes something for discussion. How would that look like when somebody grabs the agenda?
It's just on the agenda. It's something for discussion.
Where would, I guess, the analysis go?
It doesn't go anywhere unless the council moves forward with it with a majority vote.
So let's say you submit something for the agenda, right? Usually there's a section where there's staff analysis or staff comments.
Yeah,
who would fill that spot up?
The only thing is that it gives us the ability or a person to get on the agenda in a more timely manner.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, because
right?
our process is going to remain the same.
So when it's agendized and there's the analysis section that usually is filled out instead of city staff, basically a council member would fill out that section, right?
No, the council member calls the city clerk and says, I'd like to agendize this item, and they put it on, and then it's brought up before the council. And then we can say yea or nay. Mm-hmm. It's just, it doesn't change what we're doing. It just makes it a more expedient fashion, that's all.
So, Hannah, or actually, never mind. So what do we physically have proposed on the table? Because you're just saying you guys should have the ability to agendize things. I agree, but how does this look like?
I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm hearing you still have to give the 72-hour notice, and you're just streamlining the process by 2 weeks instead of waiting an additional 2 weeks?
Now, let's say there's something that you want to get on the agenda, so you give the notice to the city clerk within the time frame so that we can add it to the agenda. It's brought up on the agenda, and then we just simply vote yea or nay, whether to move forward or to indulge the staff in help. It just makes it shorter. It gives us everybody an opportunity to do what they want, representing their city. It doesn't change anything we're doing. It just eliminates the wait to get something before the council to make a decision on moving forward.
I mean, you're not being specific with what your request is, so I can't really envision.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to agendize having the park lawn mowed, right? And so you call up, make sure it gets posted on the agenda. It comes before the council, and we vote yea or nay. If not, you have to come here, ask for it, the council votes on it, then it comes back 2 weeks later.
So in the justification or analysis section, in the agenda item, what would go there?
Okay, that you're agendizing discussion on whatever your topic is.
And what would it be labeled as? Staff comments or staff analysis? Would it be council member analysis? What would it be?
It would go under probably whatever the format that we've already established, which would probably be done by our city clerk and our city attorney.
Hannah, am I like not wording it right? Basically, so from what I understand is that right now, when we have an agenda item, there's usually what the item is, background, and then staff analysis, right?
I think, okay, so right now we'll use just as for example purposes, the items on council initiated items for tonight. So if you recall at the last meeting, the mayor under council initiated new items stated that he would like to receive a report on the UAL, the CalPERS UAL. So he announced his intention at the last meeting. He had to submit a form to the city clerk with the title of the item and the reason that, or the subject, basic subject of the conversation. Tonight, it appears before the council on the agenda as council-initiated items, and tonight, the mayor will be able to make his case to the rest of his colleagues, determine if he can get consensus to dedicate staff time to producing a report. It appears that the mayor wants to cut out the first step. So last week, when he had to announce that he wanted it, he would no longer have to do that. It sounds like he wants every council member to be able to call myself within a set deadline, and then you could give me 1 to 10 items that would then appear on the agenda. Those would appear on the agenda as tonight's items appear. So no staff time is included yet, other than just agendizing it. And then the individual, I believe, would still have to get a majority vote to dedicate any significant staff time to preparing a report, if I'm,
Right on.
okay.
Go ahead, Victor.
Hannah, I have a question for you. How many cities allow this, and is there a limit? Because I just heard you say it could, it could go 2 to 10. I mean, I would hate to have someone have that much to put on staff.
So we did a survey of cities, and I don't know if we asked the question in such a specific manner to be able to tease out the difference between our two-step process and what they have. So there are some cities, I think there were 4 when I last counted, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that have no council consensus, and a council member can direct staff without any second or majority to invest staff time in preparing a report. But I'm not sure, the way we asked the question didn't suss out if they had a two-step process like we do. So it's not quite clear to me from looking at the survey results.
Yeah, mine's a little different. I don't want the ability for someone to put an agenda item on and then staff goes to work on it. As an example, let's say you have 3 items that you place on the agenda that you want. Those 3 items come before the council, and if we don't want them, then they're dead, they're gone. But it gives you an opportunity to put something on the agenda. It saves us 2 weeks to have, if we decide to go forward, it saves 2 weeks for us to get it back and make a decision on it. That's all. It doesn't require any staff time unless it's approved, which we have already established. The process we have now is exactly the same thing as what I want to do, except it's going to eliminate a 2-week waiting period. That's all.
Now, would you be opposed to limiting, say, for example, 3 per request, and then that's for a city council, and then have a maximum that a council member, because I'd hate to have, and I'm not saying this council, but even future councils, put 10 items per meeting, and then it's really taking up staff, because we can't predict what the future council is going to be
I
doing.
understand where you're coming from, but the problem is that if somebody put 100 on there, none of them can be, if the council doesn't want to hear 100, then they're not going to hear 100. You know what I'm trying to say? In other words, it's just a process to put something on the agenda to where we bring it back right away and find out if we want to move forward with it. If there's something may come up where we don't want to wait the extra amount of time, it's something important to you as a council member. That's the only reason I'm doing it.
So I don't have a problem supporting it with a limit. Because, just say one day I come here and I want 100 items, just because. And, what's to stop me?
Do it again. No, I understand. I don't have a problem with that at all because I don't think anybody at this table has ever even identified more than 2 items anyway. Among us. I know that I haven't put 2 on in one night. More.
10 on one time.
How do I want to limit?
But the thing was, we had 2 weeks to figure it out. No, I don't mind doing it with a limitation. So if you'll amend that to whatever you think you're comfortable with, I'll be happy to support that motion.
If we don't have, I don't know what you're trying to fix at the moment, apart from the 2-week wait. But if we start limiting how much a council member could agendize, then aren't we doing the opposite of what your goal is?
No, this is per meeting, not per month or anything. This is just for the upcoming meeting. Yeah. In other words,
And your high is 10? One.
It was actually 6.
Oh, 6.
Come on.
Yeah.
I think it was really 4, but you're
Sorry,
exaggerating. Go ahead, John.
I'll say that I appreciate the current system we have because sometimes when my fellow council members propose something, I might actually need 2 weeks to consider what my fellow council members have proposed. I actually happily embrace that extra period of time to be able to consider how those discussions develop. If we do make it a agenda publishing date submission, then it's a box of Cracker Jacks kind of agenda when it comes out that Thursday night.
But you could still use, let me ask, could you use both scenarios?
No.
Or you'd have to choose the,
You have to choose one.
The one that you're talking about actually put 3 things on the agenda that night. It was 3, because I remember now. I'm just telling you, this does not change anything. It's exactly the same thing as we have now, except it allows you as a councilman to put something on the agenda and not have to wait two additional
but
weeks.
do we have the option still to wait 2 weeks?
No.
No? Okay, so it'd be one or the other.
The issue is, it's nice to be able to think about these, at least for a week. 2 weeks is fine. 'cause
Well, if
that's when
you
we have the
come
next
here
meeting.
and you want to put something on the agenda, you're not going to ask to have it put on the agenda unless it's something you want on the agenda.
From me putting on, but the other people reading it and deciding, they can think about it for 2 weeks, whether they think that's a.
Well, you can't do that because that's a violation of the Brown Act.
We're not going to talk among ourselves. That would be the violation of the Brown Act.
Okay, it's,
We would individually think about
okay,
it, not all of us
Gary,
together.
it's going to be 2 weeks instead of 4 weeks, that's all.
Okay.
To it.
I'd like to call for a vote.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we allow a city council member to put an item on the agenda, and as Victor said, limit to 3, and then it's brought back at that particular time at the next council meeting for the city council to say yea or nay, which is totally the same thing that we're doing right now.
Can I just make a modification? So your recommended action would be to direct staff to amend the city's existing council policies to then do what you just stated.
Okay, can I get a second? Okay, it's not going to make it because there's no second. I will tell you, though, if you have something that you need to get on the agenda, you're going to have to wait a month, which is ridiculous because I don't think it's serving the community's best interest. Thank you. All right, moving on. Okay, we are now at oral communications. At this time, the public may address the City Council, successor agency, Stoughton Housing Authority on any items within our subject matter jurisdiction, provided that no action may be taken on non-agenda items. We have, first of all, Julia Rosales.
I'm going to pass.
Yes, okay. Okay, we have Wen, please. Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor Shara, Mayor Pro Tem Torres, City Council member, and city staff. Even though my name is Neil Nguyen, same last name with Hong Dao Nguyen, I'm also a licensed attorney, but we are not related, do we? I'm just teasing Hong Dao Nguyen, even though we have the same last name, practice law in California, but we're not related.
I did tell him in the beginning.
Anyway, I am a Orange County resident for the last 48 years, and I am very proud to serve as the president of the Vietnamese American Federation of Southern California for 2 consecutive terms from 2010 to 2015. So I happen to know a lot of council member, mayor and council member in Garden Grove, in Westminster, as well as I sometimes learn about from former Mayor Chita about Stanton council member. And I recently learned that our city of Stanton have a new motto called Pride, Purpose, and Progress, which I really like. And from my past experience, I know that from whatever city, if they want to make progress, they have to be a very best combination effort between the local government, its residents, as well as the business community. Today, I'm speaking on behalf of my dear friends Andy Nguyen, who's here at the council chamber for the past 20 years. And he's a very intelligent and sharp mind in business, running from managing a law firm, doing trucking business, and now real estate. And when he mentioned to me about real estate, and then have some, he just recently purchased 2 property in Stanton that consisting of 6 units together. So I know right away that Andy must see something special about Stanton. And especially when he wants to invest his money, which been showing to me for the last 20 years that he's been very successful, and he have like a really beautiful house in Villa Park right now, but he still, want to invest in Stanton. And he want to not only buying the property, but he want to spend his money to remodel it up to the standard code of California building, so that he can rent to the tenants. So the more that he could get the permit from the city of Stanton, the more that the faster that the property could be remodeled, and the faster that he could rent to the tenants. So, but right now, the issue that I present today is the issue of getting the permit from the planning department of City of Stanton. He came to the city Stanton and speak to the staff that he want to remodel the property, especially.
Okay, just turn that off. Go ahead, keep going.
10531 on Loden Street. And he present to the planning department all of the old building permit that issue from the city of Stanton, as well as the certificate of occupancies and use, the certificate of use and occupancy issued by the Orange County. But however, the staff still could not issue the permit to remodeling his property at 10531 on Loden Street because they want him to prove that that building is legally built. And it seemed to me that when we have the building permit issued by the City of Stanton and the certificate of use and occupancy by Orange County, that automatically could prove that the property was legally built. So there's no question about it. Just hopefully that the mayor and the city council could recommend staff that to recognize us for especially for on those old building. That way, the new owner doesn't have to spend so much time and still could not get the permit to remodel because they have to prove that the property is legally built.
Let me cut you off there.
Sure.
Is that the property on Chestnut?
No, the property we have it here is on 10531 on Loden Street.
Okay, good. The community development director is right there, Crystal is right there. Hold your hand up. She'll be able to work with you, and she'll be reaching out to you, and you'll get a chance to meet with her, and she will go over everything and review what you presented to us tonight. Thank you for your coming in. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to address the council at this time? Okay. We have I'm going to close the oral communications. No written communications, chair initiated business, mayor, committee reports, announcements. I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting the 65th annual Fiesta that was held over the weekend at St. Polycarp Church. There were thousands of people there. Everybody had a wonderful time. There was no incidents. And I will say that, John, thank you for taking the pictures. And Victor, thank you for going around and greeting everybody. It was a great community event. Everybody had a chance to, I think the most fun was had by the kids that were there because they had games for them to play this year. Any other
those wonderful free hot dogs that you were giving out.
Okay. Is there any other reports at this time? John, why don't you give us an update on, I know that all the former mayors, and I know that you and Victor were at the memorial for our former planning commissioner, Mr. Heitman, please.
Yeah, I wanted to thank the mayor for coming out to that. We had 5 former mayors and our active mayor all together for the celebration of life for Lowell Bud Heitman. It was a pretty great ceremony. Went on for about 2 hours, but really got to get a snapshot of his life and his love for Stanton, how long he's been a committed resident here, and got to learn a lot about him from his family that explains a lot about Bud. So it was moving with that ceremony. My particular favorite part of that was his one son always played rock music, and Bud could never stand it. Always wanted to play country music. So in remembrance for his father, he sang a country song. So I enjoyed being there, and it was great to see all our representatives there.
Thank you for that. As you know, not only was Bud a longtime planning commissioner and one of the best ones we've had, but his wife, Nancy, was also our Parks and Services Commissioner for many years. So he will be missed. He was a legend, and he knew everything about the history of our town. So thank you for that, John. Anything for a future meeting? Anything for a future study session? Okay, moving along. 15D, go ahead, Patricia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before you, we have item 15D, City Council initiated item, discussion regarding unfunded actuarial liability, UAL. At the September 9th, 2025 City Council meeting, Mayor Shriver requested that this item be agendized for discussion. Mayor Shriver is requesting to discuss the feasibility of staff providing the City Council with a status update on the city's UAL status. Mr. Shriver?
Thank you. Unfunded liability has a lot to do with the actuaries, also with OSERS, as you know, because the Orange County Employees Association deals with some of the different employees that we are contractual with. Also, probably our biggest one is some of our old UALs that we had with some of our previous departments, such as police. That one. We were able to get rid of most of ours with the fire department. I was just concerned with the fact that we still have a certain amount of indebtedness because of that, and I would like to maybe ask if we were able to get a document that states all of the UALs, where we are, how much have we paid, and what the projection is for the payoff. In other words, when do we foresee it? As you know, it has a lot to do with how long people live. It also has to do with the investment pool of how much we're getting on our interest rates. So there's a lot of variables there. But it's something that we should always keep in the back of our mind. As you know, we did pay $500,000, and I think it was about 7 years ago. And we actually saved ourselves millions of dollars because we were able to make those early payments. I'm not sure if there's something that we can pay down to a certain degree to make that work. The problem with that is sometimes if you pay it down and use money that you need for your everyday operations, it come back and get you because it's like a bottomless pit. All of a sudden, because of a higher mortality, a longer mortality rate, and the fact that interest rates drop, you're going to end up, spending just as much money that you do to pay down your unfunded liability. So I think it's always good to occasionally look at that if we could. I don't know how staff wants to do it, if they want to do it in a document, or maybe we could have just a presentation at one of our meetings, but I thought it would be something that would be our due diligence, that's all.
Mayor, if I can add to that, so staff would be happy to provide a report. I believe what you're asking for is the CalPERS UAL report, and we currently have 3 different tiers of retirees, and it's a perfect time because CalPERS just released their investment earnings report for the prior period. So it will be an update. We last presented information on the UAL to the council at the May budget workshop, but we do have some additional information we can share with the council if you'd like us to prepare that for a future meeting.
Okay, one of the other things too is if you would clarify it, if we were to withdraw from the OCFA, I wanted to see where we stand with having to pay off our unfunded liability on that. I'm not sure. I know the sheriff's department contract, we already pay for that at this point, so that's something that we're not responsible for, but I would look and see what the clause is with OCFA.
So I can, that will take some more time. We wouldn't be able to conduct that analysis on our own. We would have to work with the OCFA Finance Department. So you're saying if the city withdrew from OCFA, what would all of our financial obligations related to any pension costs be?
Yeah, I think if you just ask for that, we really have to spend a lot of staff time. I'm sure that they can just present that document to you. Okay. Save us some time.
Okay, so
I think
that's
the main thing is the one that affects our city employees.
Okay, so I understand the motion. Thank you.
Okay. Are we all okay with that? Okay. Do we need a motion or action on that?
Maybe not. What? We better vote on this, Mr. Mayor.
I just asked
we get a vote,
if we
please?
had to do it, and I asked how to do it.
Councilmember
Because I
Warren?
want to make sure we do it correctly.
Councilmember Warren has a clarifying question for you, sir.
So this is just reviewing existing information that's out there in the ether. In terms of action, we're not taking action.
Well, calculating the city's cost to withdraw from the OCFA, I can guarantee you is not out there. They would have to calculate that for us.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was thinking like ACFR, we looked at this kind of like information in the budget.
So our
Yeah,
own
yeah.
UAL, yes, the finance director and I can prepare that quickly. The second portion of the request would be a work request that somebody, most likely OCFA, would have to do.
Okay, and then to the mayor, is your concern about potential future liabilities?
Yeah, exactly, because as I said, John, if we don't pay down our unfunded liability, then it just drags out. If we pay too much and then the liability grows because of people living longer and our investments not being as good, that grows up. Usually I think most people try to keep it about 70%. I would like to see where we are with that. I think that's important for us to have that information. It's really kind of, doing our own is probably pretty simple. I think the bulk of the work can be done by OCFA, so that's not going to take our staff a lot of time. But those two things I think are important to us in our future. The last time we did this, we saved ourselves a lot of money.
Jared presented that when he first came, and we put money down, and it did save us a lot of money. With the OFCA one, you're just looking to see how much it is?
No, I want to see what the conditions are if we were to withdraw, or if...
How do we withdraw? How's that possible?
You just leave. You leave.
Well, we'll replace the OCFA if they.
I'm not talking about leaving. I'm just saying, we need to know I'd like to know what the city's responsibilities for unfunded liability with the OCFA are. That's all.
Okay, nothing about leaving?
No.
Okay.
It's so weird we would conduct this.
Yeah, I just think it's good that we know and if it's going to be paid. It's supposed to grandfather, Gary, it's supposed to grandfather within a certain amount of time. Okay?
What does that mean? I'm sorry. What
It
does
means
that
it's going to go away, we won't owe anything, it'll be paid off. I want to find
I
out.
thought it went on until somebody died.
UAL can be paid off to a point of where there's no more unfunded liability. I wanted to find out if they've identified that target date yet, so that we can find out if the city of Stanton will no longer have that responsibility. That's all.
Okay.
Based on the clarifications made, I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed?
Abstain.
Anybody object?
Abstain.
One abstaining, it still does receive council consensus to move forward. Would you like to move on to item 15? We will be moving on to item 15E, which is City Council initiated item, discussion regarding California Proposition 50. At the September 9th, 2025 City Council meeting, Mayor Shaver requested that this item be agendized for discussion. Mayor Shaver is requesting to discuss California Proposition 50.
Thank you very much. As many of our neighboring cities, they are in opposition to Proposition 50. I don't care what's happening in California. I don't care what's happening in our neighboring cities. I do, however, know what Proposition 50 is going to do to our city. I'm very concerned about the fact that Proposition 50 is going to take our 3.5 square mile city and divide it right down the middle, to where the north part of it's going to have one congressional representative and the south of it's going to have a different one. And if somebody's property line backyard is on the wrong side, their house is going to be split in half. This is going to be very detrimental to us because right now we have a great working relationship with our congressional representative that takes in the entire city, and that would be Congressman Lou Correa. I do not want to compete against the city of Anaheim for grants from the federal government or any of our larger neighboring cities. I just want Stanton to be in one congressional district to where we can deal with one congressional representative who can take care of the needs of our community. Therefore, I'm requesting that the city of Stanton take a position opposing Proposition 50. very similar to Cypress, Los Alamitos, and some of our neighboring cities. That's pretty much it. Go ahead, Gary.
Wouldn't it be better to have two representatives in the sense that we could go after funds from two different U.S. congressmen, women?
Doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that? Okay.
They'd have to win the minds and hearts of Stanton voters. You know, like having two Congress people actually sounds like a really great idea. You know, they literally have to compete over our city. So we actually would have more representation when it comes to Prop 50.
Reiterate that fact that it's very difficult to compete with large cities.
We'd have two congressmen.
What if they have a disagreement on what's going on?
Well, maybe we can get it from one of them. If we have a disagreement with Lou now, we don't get anything.
Okay, well, that's your call. I'm just telling you my position.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, we could have more projects funded. Our consultants are going to be able to have more office people to talk to as well to be able to get a lot more of our federal funds back. I think this is a good idea. I mean, we already compete with all the other cities in our area. I just honestly see more representation with Prop 50. It's pretty good.
But you're this council has always been very concerned about making sure that the citizens understand who their representation is. Right now, if you have two different congressional representatives, it's very confusing for people in the community that live in the community to know who to reach out to for their everyday things such as taxes, Medicare, Medi-Cal, and many other things. There'll be, I mean, when you have a city as small as ours that's split down the middle, they won't know where to go to get the services that they need from the federal government.
I think residents could just look up like their address and see who their representative is. It's like a 3 or 4 minute process. It's pretty easy. I don't really see the issue here. I just see a bigger potential for federal tax dollars to come back to the city of Stanton. And on top of that, Stanton might be a more important topic since now 2 Congress members have to worry about it.
Go ahead, John.
My concern with the way the maps have been drawn up is actually very much based on the same discussions that this council had the last time that we did redistricting, that we had some of our neighborhoods were split up, and this new map divides the Lantern Park neighborhood in half, just as our old map did when the city council tried to remedy that with our redistricting 2022. However, this is a much broader situation and environment. We're outside of just simply city redistricting. And frankly, it's gerrymandering in the response to gerrymandering. And it's not complicated to say that I don't think anybody up around here grew up around knowing the idea of gerrymandering is bad, and I don't care if it's Texas or California, that we shouldn't, frankly, be having this conversation to begin with. This shouldn't be before us. It shouldn't have happened to begin with. However, as a city in the state of California, we don't have a say in what Texas decides to do and how it wants to determine its own fate. But we have a say in California about how it responds to what other states are doing. But as a city, one of 34 in Orange County, we're responsible for ourselves. We can't control what the state does, and as much as everybody would like to be able to say, like I'd love to be able to get our mental health funding from Prop 36, but that just hasn't panned out. I'm just concerned with how these maps, in the process in which it originated, has really divided a lot of communities. It's not just Stanton. I mean, there's a lot of division out there. And I can't remember the last time Stanton was split by any previous congressional map. And I know this is the very thing that, as a city council, our previous members had sat up here, tried to avoid, was splitting up neighborhoods. And especially since one of our most prominent Latino neighborhoods is now going to be split in half. That's obviously a concern I have with these maps, but we can't change those dimensions.
Anyone else care to comment?
I just don't see the benefits of splitting a city as small as ours. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. And, you know, I think Congressman Correa's, you know, I've met him a few times, and we just text back and forth the other day. And, you know, and I feel so far since I've been on council, you know, he's been a good rep for us. So, you know, I hate to be on the other side of him.
You're on the north side, though, aren't you?
Yeah.
You'd be with him.
Okay, then split it.
That's a really good point. You know, Lou's been a blessing for our community. He's taken care of us for his many years in Congress. We've supported him for all of his endeavors. He always remembers us. I think it adds insult to injury to take our city away from him because of the things that he's been able to do for us. Again, just want to reiterate, I'm not asking to campaign, to outreach to the voters or do anything. I just want to take a position as any bill, which this is a bill or this is an item, and just oppose it because it's not good for the citizens of our city. That's all. Thank you.
The way I see this is I cannot see myself supporting this if this is done in a partisan lens. I do not support the idea of gerrymandering, whether that be on a local level, a state level, or a national level. It's something that I've heard my entire life is something that we should be trying to avoid, and watched Supreme Court cases go down telling states to knock it off. And we're obviously in a very different environment now, but I don't think gerrymandering is a partisan problem. It's a bipartisan problem.
What I'll say is that statement really obfuscates the issue here, because the truth is that we have a president who's scared of losing his majority in the midterms. So he asked a Republican state to go ahead and gerrymander their districts. They go ahead, they basically ram it through without, you know, population vote, and then we come here conveniently, basically trying to put down the people who are responding to a literal change in our demographics in Congress. So I'm sorry, but this sounds a little bit cry-bully-ish, because this is initiated by your side of the political spectrum, and you could just sit here, just very conveniently say, oh, look, Sacramento is doing it again, when in reality we get more representation. Not only do we have the great Lou Correa having our backs, but now we're going to have another congressman. I don't see how this is an issue. This genuinely is going to help our city. We're going to be able to have more opportunities to have grants and stuff like that. I don't see the issue.
Agree to disagree.
Said before, this is very simplistic. It has nothing to do with what other states are doing. It has nothing to do with what's going on in California as far as I'm concerned. I just want to keep the city of Stanton in one congressional district. We've been very successful for years with one congressional representative. I do not want to split our city up, and so therefore I'm going to make a motion that we oppose Proposition 50.
Mayor, if I may, because this is going to be a ballot measure, if we can also inquire if members of the public have any public comment to provide.
At this time, is there any input from the public? Okay, I'll bring it back to the council for a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Clarification from staff's perspective. So is this something that the council wants us to draft from scratch? You mentioned a couple other cities that already have something. Do you want us to use theirs as a template, depending? And it sounds like, obviously, you want me to reprioritize this above existing work because there's a timeliness factor to it. So I need a little bit more direction from staff.
I think probably that's a good point. Most of the cities are small cities like ours. They're none of the big cities have taken a position. So I think a small city like ours, so probably if we call around and find out something very simple that they're able to put together, that's basically what I think would be our best interest.
So you would like staff to call other Orange County cities and see who has one, and then of those cities use
Right.
which one?
And bring it back to the council. For
Oh,
final
bring all
approval.
of them back to the council?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, yes.
Okay, so there's actually no staff on the really new work. You just want me to do a survey of other cities, and at the next meeting, bring you all the ones that we found.
Right, and then I'll bring a draft of it's just a letter of opposition, that's all.
Okay, so there won't be any action at the next meeting because it won't be prepared in our staff, so you'll have to give us direction, and then we'll bring it back at the next meeting. I just want to make that clear, timing-wise, that'll be the second meeting in October.
Close to the election.
Okay, let's just do this. I'm going to make a motion that we oppose Proposition 50, period. And that will be then, whatever the vote of the council is tonight, we'll make that known. That's all. We're not going to go out and campaign about it. We're not going to come up with any letters. It's just taking that position. That's very common for a council majority to take a position on an item and then support it or not support it. That's all.
So at this time, we have a motion by Shaver, a second by Councilmember Barrios for the original motion of taking the position in opposition of Proposition 50. I will now proceed with roll call vote. Councilmember Warren?
Abstain.
Councilmember Barrios? Yes. Councilmember Taylor?
No.
Councilmember Torres? No. And Mayor Shaver?
Yes.
So that leaves us with a 2-2. An abstain. To the votes, there is no action for this item.
Call for a revote.
That was loud enough.
That would typically be, Mayor, a motion for reconsideration.
Right.
In a motion for reconsideration, someone from the motion who prevailed in the motion would bring it. In this case, there was no prevailing motion because the motion did not pass. It did not get a majority vote.
Okay. I'm very disappointed in the fact that that we understand how negative this would be for our community and that it did not pass. I think this is simply a politically motivated action taken by the state of California that does not care about the city of Stanton or the residents that are here. Okay, moving on. Items from the city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I have no items.
City manager.
Nothing this evening, sir.
Orange County Sheriff's Department.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. During the month of August, Stanton Police Services responded to a total of 2,605 calls for service, which is an average of 84 calls per service per day. We had 38, in the month of August, we had 1,197 assigned calls, 1,408 observed calls for the total of 2,605. Stanton patrol deputies conducted 921 patrol checks throughout the city of Stanton. We had contact with more than 52 individuals, pedestrian stops, self-initiated activity. Over 300 citations were issued and more than 100 custodial arrests were made. Misdemeanor citations, we issued 103. Misdemeanor bookings, 39. Felony bookings, 36. Warrant bookings, 42. DUI bookings, 10. And traffic citations, 356. Enforcement efforts during the month of August. There was 1 sexual assault, 1 robbery, 4 violent assaults, 2 burglaries, 6 thefts, 52 trespass-related citations, and 4 stolen vehicles. Response times, excuse me. Priority 1, 3 minutes and 58 seconds. Priority 2, 12 minutes and 56 seconds. And priority 3, 18 minutes and 41 seconds. Stanton investigators were very busy during the month of August. They had 68 new cases, 65 cases were closed, 12 cases were filed with the DA's office, and 8 arrests where the DA issued the complaint. Stanton Investigations coordinated with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, along with OCSD Human Trafficking and the Human Trafficking Task Force, to help locate and recover a juvenile runaway. Along with the recovery of the juvenile, investigators made a custodial arrest of that subject. The Special Enforcement Team in the month of August had 42 probation parolee contacts, 19 prostitution-related contacts, 20 felony arrests, 35 misdemeanor arrests, 6 stolen vehicles were recovered, and 10 investigative referrals. The SET deputies also assisted our patrol deputies in locating an armed robbery suspect, resulting in a positive identification and the arrest of the subject. They also assisted North Narcotics in locating a suspect vehicle related to a search warrant. This concludes my report for the month of August, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Just some comments. Thank you for what you're doing. I do drive around the city a lot, and it really is much better than what it has been in the past. So again, if you could thank your deputies from the whole council, that we really do appreciate the work you guys are doing. And the residents are talking to me, and they're noticing the difference. So thank you.
Thank you.
Say thank you to your deputies. I was involved in a car accident 2 weeks ago, and without outing myself as a council member, they showed up in a timely fashion for a non-emergency call, and so I appreciated seeing them arrive.
Thank you.
Last Thursday night, the deputies were really active on beach, and when it was safe, I did personally stop and thank them for their service and what they're doing for the city.
Thank you.
Love the work. I have gotten a lot of personal feedback from residents, especially the day that you guys were out there and the increase. How many hours did you spend that day, extra man hours again?
For the entire month, it was 1,800 additional hours.
It shows. Thank you.
Chief, I'm wondering if you could please get a copy of your report to Hannah so we can share it with the council.
I'll discuss that with Hannah after the meeting.
Thank you very much. Is there any other business except from the city attorney who is feverishly checking the books?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Following the last item on the Proposition 50 discussion, we consulted with the city's rules of decorum. Truly, one of the ways to bring something back as a motion for reconsideration, we couldn't do that here because there was no prevailing party that was bringing it back for reconsideration. There is a section in the city's rules of decorum that discusses under 7.4 failure to vote. It does discuss at the very end of it, and it's not super clear on the first part, but the last sentence does say tie votes, and quote, tie votes shall be lost motions and may be reconsidered. It doesn't note how many times it can be reconsidered, but it does contemplate that a tie vote is a lost motion and may be reconsidered. Here, there was 2 yeas, 2 nays, and 1 abstention, where essentially it was a tie vote because one of the votes was an abstention. And so based on reading this rules of decorum in the moment, it appears that at least a tie vote can be reconsidered.
And I just want to clarify, because we're not reading the whole provision to you, which we can if you would like, but there is a sentence. So even though this section is titled failure to vote, and even though votes may be reconsidered, it also states the, sorry, I lost my Oh, it says neither the mayor nor any council member shall be forced to vote. So that doesn't mean that upon reconsideration, anyone must feel that they are forced to vote. So there's more sentences to the provision if the council would like us to read that to you, but those are the 2 that I think directly apply to the action taken this evening.
Okay, so I'm going to pose my question. I'm going to ask for a revote from the city clerk. And this is just to oppose Proposition 50, period.
Councilmember Warren? Councilmember Barrios?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
No.
Councilmember Torres?
No.
Mayor Shaver?
Yes.
The vote stays the same. 8:14 p.m.
We know. Yep. Something new.